Hello, in this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to scrape web pages using a Python package called Scrapy, and I'll be using Visual Studio Code, which is one of the package within Anaconda. So let's just launch Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I've created a folder for this scraping script. So I'm just going to set the working directory to that folder. We can do that by typing cd and then the directory. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to start a Scrapy project. And how we do that is basically type Scrapy start project and then the name of the project. So we'll be scraping Ray White. We will name it Ray White. Okay, so we also need to create the spider now, and how we do that is basically follow the instructions here. You can start your first spider with cd Ray White, Scrapy gen spider. So we basically just follow the instructions there. So we type in cd Ray White, Scrapy gen spider. And here we Scrapy gen spider, and then after this we need to type in the name of our spider. The name of our spider here, we can name it anything we want. I will call it RW. And the last one is the domain name. So we need to copy the domain name, which is raywhite.co.nz. Paste it there. And you need to know that we need to get rid of that stuff. Is the HTTPS, we don't need that. We just need the domain name as it is. Okay, so once you see that, it means the spider has been created. So we go back to our folder now. We will see that there's a folder created called Ray White. This is the this was generated when we typed in start project, and then if we go through it into the spiders folder, we will see something called rw.py. So rw.py was generated when we typed in gen spider rw. So this is actually our spider. So I'm just going to open it in Visual Studio Code. Okay, hold on. So and this is what our spider looks like currently, and we will of course edit it so that it will give us the information we need. But this is the generic template of a generic Scrapy spider. So let me just explain quickly what is on the screen, right? So name, well, obviously that is the name of the spider. Allowed domains means the domains which this spider is allowed to scrape. And start URL is the link where the spider will begin scraping. So we don't want to scrape from the home page. So let's just give a link where we wanted to start scraping from. So let's go search. So I'm showing you how I scraped the dataset together for your phase 1 assignment. Obviously, you don't need to do the scraping, but I'm showing you how I did it. So if we just select, so I selected residential, yep, that's right. And I only selected Auckland as a region. And did I select anything else? Let me have a look here. Oh yes, property types I've selected house only. And that's it. Okay, there we go. So there's about 1,000 houses that meets this criteria. And what we're actually interested in right now is finally getting the link, right? So I'm just going to copy that link and paste it in here. There we go. Okay, so why did I paste that link here? Because that link is the start URL, is where the spider will start scraping. and we want to start scraping this page, and then move on to the next one, and then move on to the next one until we scrape everything we want. But let's try to focus on the first page first. Okay, so yeah, let's have a look at the page. What do we want from this page? Well, let's put it simply, we just want the address of each property, the number of bedrooms, and the number of bathrooms of each property. I mean, we can get the number of car parks as well, but then for this tutorial, I'm just going to keep it simple. We will just get the address, number of bedrooms, and number of bathrooms. So how do we do that? Well, first we need to inspect the HTML of this page. So if we press Ctrl, Shift, and I, okay, I mean, if you don't want to press Ctrl, Shift, and I, you just right click and you click inspect. Okay, and then there's this button over here. Just click on it, because this will, if you hover over something, it will highlight the associated piece of HTML code that is associated with whatever you hover over, right? So I'm just going to demonstrate that. Click this button here, okay? And then let's just have a look. So, okay, so I'm going to select this. And as you can see, this part is highlighted. And why did I select this? Because we want to iterate through each card, you know, so there's actually 24 cards on this page. Card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, but I want to iterate for each one, so I need to select each card one at a time. So I'm going to select this card, and then here we go. So this card, we can access this card by using an XPath expression. If you have never heard of an XPath expression, I guess I'll just show you now. It's very straightforward, and in web scraping it's pretty useful. So we want to select this div element where the class equals to card body. So we just click on this once, we press Ctrl F. Ctrl F is fine, right? Press Ctrl F. And then XPath always starts with 2 of these slashes. And then since we want to select the div element, we type div. Okay. And then it says here that there's 278 divs. So we don't really want to select all 278 because we only want to select the cards, and there are 24 cards. So, oh, it moved away. So if I just click back on the card here, the class is equal to card body. So if we double click card body, we can copy that. Okay, so I'm just pressing Ctrl C right now. Okay, and then we have a bracket here, add class equals to card body. So if we do that, that basically means we are selecting, since we can see that there's 24 elements in total, 24 div elements where the class equals to card body. So this is very useful because this tells us whether we are selecting more than we want, or we are selecting, in this case, the right amount, right? So this piece of XPath expression will give us what we need. It will give us each of these cards, and we want to access each of them because we want to extract information from each of them. So I'm going to iterate here. That is very important to look at, how many elements is selected, because that will give you an indication of whether you are selecting the right number of stuff or whether you are just off track. So here, since this XPath expression seems to be correct, I'm just going to copy it, go to Visual Studio Code. Okay, so basically response, okay, maybe I should explain here. So the response is basically when the spider goes to this link over here, it reads the HTML into the response, and we can use XPath expressions on the response. And how we do that is basically just type that response.xpath. So if we, type in this XPath expression, then cards would get all the 24, yeah. So this object here would consist of all 24 of these diff elements contained in a list. So you can think of this object cards as a list, and each element in this list would be a single diff element that we selected using this XPath expression. So what do we do next? Well, we need to extract the address from each of these cards, right? So we will need to look at where the address is contained. So if we just, okay, so what I did is select that tool over here, right? So I'm going to click it so that I can find the address. And it seems the address is located inside an H5 element here. And the H5 element is in this turn located inside an A element. So if we, and the A element again is in this turn located inside the diff element, which is the one we selected before. So all we need to do here is do this. This will give us what we need, right? This is an XPath expression. So if we have another slash, type in A, because the A is within the diff element, and the H5 is within the A element. So we're going to type H5 here. And we see that there's 24 of them, which means that we're on the right track again, because there are 24 cards, there are 24 property addresses. So now we selected the H5 element, we need to get what is inside, and how we do that is this. Oh, you might not be able to see it, but it's basically text with opening bracket and then a closing bracket. Now we can see here that there's actually 48 all of a sudden. The moment we wanted the elements, the contents of the H5 element, it jumped from 24 to 48, because if we delete that, there's only 24. So why is that? And that's because the text is broken down into two parts. So each of the 24 property addresses is broken down into two parts. The first part is 594 Great South Road. The second part is Otahuhu, Auckland City. Okay, so we need to extract both parts. And how we do that, we will see soon. But for the moment being, I'm just going to copy this. Go to VS Code again and do a for loop. So what are we doing here? We are iterating, because we are treating that as a list of cards, right? Each one is basically a card. So we want to iterate through all of them. Okay, and for the first one, we want to, for the first, for card and cards. So we're pretending we're looking at the first card right now. Okay, we can actually try to find the address now. So let me just explain what's going on here. So what is all this business here, right? I mean, well, this is a Python variable, right? We're creating a variable which contains the address. And how we're getting that, again, we're using an XPath expression. So why is it, a full stop and a slash when the XPath expression should start with two slashes? Well, that's because we are passing this XPath, because the cards already selected. They are already selected with this XPath expression. So we are selecting, another XPath expression within something that we already selected using the XPath expression. So instead, whenever we do that, instead of having two slashes, we will only have a full stop and then one slash. So basically, if we look here, it's basically the same as everything here, right? Except that it's split into two parts. We select the card using this XPath expression, and then within each card, we further select the address using this XPath, which is built on top of the one over here. Okay, and we need to use get all. Usually we use get, but here we use get all, and the reason is because, as I explained, there's two parts of it, so we need to get both parts. So okay, so let's see what the address looks like, right? So let's just run the spider. First I'm going to save it, or actually let's run the spider and see whether we're getting the right address. So I'm just going to write yield address. Okay, so that should hopefully give us what we need. And what I need to write here is Scrapy crawl. So we're crawling, and we need to type the spider name, which is RW. And okay. So it crawls the page, and then let's inspect what it returns. So it returns the address, okay, but the address is a whole bunch of, new line, escape sequence, and that kind of stuff. And we want to, well, clean it, right? We don't want to return an address which has a whole bunch of escape sequence stuff. So we're just going to do this. So here we're actually doing pure Python, right? That is what I'm doing now is not unique to Scrapy. So I'm just going to do x.strip. And let's run it to see whether that works. So x.strip will strip out all those escape sequence and new lines and that kind of stuff. Okay, let's try. So if you want to stop the spider running prematurely, you can press Ctrl C twice. So let's see what was returned. Okay, there we go. So now we can see that the address doesn't have any more escape sequence, right? 18 Hutchinson's Road, Buxton Beach, but we still have this annoying \XA0 thing there, right? So we want to get rid of that. So we simply do a string replace to get rid of that. So we need to find out what we're replacing, right? So it's where is it? Back some /XA0, okay? We're replacing it with a space. Save it and then run it, and then we will see what happens. So Control C tries to stop it prematurely because we just want to see a few examples, right? So there we go. 18 Hutchinson's Road, Buxton Beach, Manukau City. So perfect. We don't have all those escape sequence. We don't have anything other than the address itself. So what we need to do now, because address is a list, we want to join it together. So we do this. That's basically a function that simply joins a list into a single string. Save it, run it, and then we'll see it working. Oh. Hold on, what is this? Okay, so there's some problem. Oh, oops, I need to delete that. Okay, save it, run it. Okay. So there we go. So it's no longer a list, it's a single string, right? So that's exactly what we want. So we got the address sorted. Now we need to deal with the other business, right? And that is number of bedrooms and number of bathrooms. Okay. So let's scrape the number of bedrooms and number of bathrooms. We're just going to click on this selecting tool and select this thing here because that's where the information is contained. And then we can see that, okay, let me just do that. Okay, so this card body is the div element which contains the card. And then within the card body, we have another div where the class equals to card details. So we select that. Hold on. Yep, so we select that and we just type div class equals to, okay, so this will select this thing here, but then we also need to select another div class because the information about, we can see 5 beds, 2 bathrooms. So this information is within a div class, which is within this div class. So we need to go one extra layer in. So we're going to select div again, and this time the class equals to this thing here. Okay, and let me just double check this. So just let me double check this because it's showing 1 of 23, and when you see something like that, then you want to become a little bit suspicious, right? Because we're expecting 24 cards here. So we just go, okay, select that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Okay, so as we can see, the reason is because this card here doesn't have beds or bath information. So that's why instead of 24, we're seeing only 23. And that is acceptable because if that information is not there, well, there's no way we can get it using this method. So after investigating that, we can just go back to what we were doing before, which is trying to get the beds and bathrooms. So this XPath expression is fine because as we have seen, it selects the element which has the information we want in it, and when it doesn't have it, for example, wherever that thing is, for example this one here, then it doesn't select it. So that's normal behavior. So we're just going to copy this XPath expression here and then type in, so if we have a look here, this has bedroom and bathroom information in it all at the same time, right? So we're just going to name it bed and bath at this for now. And I copied the whole XPath expression, but as we've done before, because we've already have a selecting XPath here, we can get rid of this part here and just start it with a full stop and a single backslash. Okay, so let's have a look at what this bed bath thing looks like. So we type here Scrapy crawl RW, which is the spider name. Oh, what's happened? Oh, right. I need to have a comma. Save it, and then we do it again. So I'm just going to stop it prematurely with Control-C twice because I don't need to run the whole thing. And let's have a look. So address looks perfect. Bed, bath. Oh, yes. It's saying selector, XPath, and then a bunch of stuff. And that's because, yes, that's because I forgot to select the text. So we go here. After we selected the correct element, we always should get the text because we want the text that's inside it. So I type in text here, and then I need to type get. And I don't need to type get all because there's only one piece of text inside. As we can see, it's 1 of 23. Before, there was 1 of 48, so we can tell there were 2 pieces of text inside. So I can use the get function in this case, save it, and we're just going to run it. Oh. And then we can see, yep, so bed and bath, we got a whole bunch of escape sequences, and then we also have 5 beds and 3 baths and 2 cars. So the information is all in there. We just need to somehow extract it, and again, when we come to this part, it's nothing difficult anymore because it's nothing new with scraping. This is basically a normal Python string and we want to extract information from it. So now I'm just going to import something here. We need regular expression, and I'll show you later why we need it. So I save that, and then we can say bit path equals to bit path dot strip. So that should help us get rid of all those escape sequence int whatever, and let's just test that's the case. Yep, and then we need to get rid of the again backslash xa0. So we're just gonna do bit path equals bit path replace. So let's have a look. So this looks more like it, right? So we got the address here, perfect, and we got bed and bath, 3 beds, 2 baths, 3 cars. Okay, so that is exactly what we want, but we actually want to return bed as a we want to return bed by itself, so 3 beds, and baths by themselves, so 2 baths. We don't want it all in a single string. So how do we do that? That's where we need to use regular expressions. And if you don't know what regular expressions are, then try to follow along, and I will see if I can post some resources on the GitHub for you guys to read up on. But regular expression is basically a way to match a pattern in a string. So this is nothing special, is it? I mean, it's a normal Python string, but we want to match a pattern from it. And we want to extract, for example, we want to extract the number 3 when it's in front of bed, and so that we know there's 3 bed, and we want to extract the number 2 when it's in front of bath, so that we know there are 2 bathrooms. Okay, so I'm just going to write some regular expression stuff here. I'll explain soon, so don't worry. Match. I think we need to write. So let me just hold on. So let me just try to run this, and then I will explain what is actually happening here. Okay, so I think this is fine, but we will have a check, right? So 4 Sally Crescent have 3 bedroom, and Dominion Road has 3 bedrooms. So let's have a look, right? 4 Sally, we don't want to search there. Yep, so 4 Sally Crescent have 3 bedroom, and Dominion Road again have 3 bedrooms. So we are pulling out the right number. So let me just explain what is going on here, right? So this is the regex regular expression. It's called a regex. This is the regex package, and what it does is it looks for the pattern here. So the pattern here is bid, right? So it looks for the pattern bid, and then there's a number before the bid. So a square bracket with 0 to 9 in it, and then closing square bracket. This means a number. So yeah, so it's like a digit, right? So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the plus, it means there's either one number or more. Okay, so it means that, so the plus means either there's one number or more. So if read.match, so if there's a pattern where there's a number and then there's a bed in the string, so if, then we extract the number out. And how we do that is basically read.match. Again, this is what's going on, but then we have a group 1. So it extracts the first group. And how do we know what the group is? The group is indicated by what's enclosed inside this bracket here. This bracket here denotes a group. So group 1 would be this number here, because that is within the brackets here. So if we say dot group 1, then it extracts the number. So we go bedrooms equals the number that is in front of the pattern bed. Okay. So now we need to extract the bathroom, which is going to be quite similar. Oh, there's going to be a little bit of change, but generally is exactly the same. And then okay, so let me test it first, and if it works, I will explain to you what was happening. Okay, so I forgot to yield. I forgot a full stop as well. Okay, save it and then run it. Okay, so 4 Atlanta Way, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. 4 Atlanta. Oh. Okay, there we go. 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Okay, so that looks right? Okay, so let me just explain what's going on here. So it's pretty much the same, right? Except that instead of looking for the pattern bed, we're looking for the pattern bath. And also there's a full stop here with an asterisk here. And we actually need to include that because this assumes that it starts at the beginning of the string, but there's actually a whole bunch of stuff before it that we need to take into account. So that's why we have a full stop here, which matches anything. So it doesn't matter whether it's number, digit, or anything, it just matches anything. And then there's the asterisk here, which basically means it can be 0 or more. So it can either be there or it can either not be there. So basically a full stop and asterisk means there may be a bunch of stuff before it, or there may be absolutely nothing. But the main matching part would be the bathroom here, which matches the word bath, and the number before the bath, which matches which is basically the number before the bath. So that's basically all we need for the page, right? So we got the address, bedrooms and bathrooms. You might need to, have a play with the regular expressions, but usually it's not that difficult. I mean, once you, play around with it a little bit. So the last thing which is we need to do, and which might be a little bit tricky, would be to go to the next page, right? Because we scrape this page, but then we need to go to the next page and the next page and next page and so on and so forth. So there's a trick to do that, and I will show you. Right, so in order to go to the next page, we need to know the length of the next page. And how do we know the length of the next page? Well, if we click on 2, that will give us the link of the next page, but we don't need to click on it here. We're just gonna use the selector tool, select 2, and have a look. And there we go. The link is actually inside the HTML file. We can see the link right here. So we really want to just extract that link there and then follow it and ask our spider, this is our spider, to follow that link. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, basically, let's go back to Visual Studio Code first. So what I'm going to do here is outside the for loop, right? Because we go into the for loop, we iterate through every card. For each card, we get the address, bedroom, and bathroom. And then once we finish the for loop, which means the page is finished, we go to the next page. And we can do that by using this function here, basically. So Scrapy.request, so it requests a URL where it can visit. And how do we get the URL? We need to extract it from, as I've said, this button here. Okay, so let's just have a look, right? So how can, but this is, at first sight it seems difficult because we don't have a next button. If we're right now on page 1, we select page 2, but if we're on page 2, how do we know that page 3 is next? Do we need some kind of counter or something? Well, no, we don't actually need to worry about it in this case, because if we pay attention, the current page that we are on will be, in this case, page 1 is different. So it has an active, the class is not only page item, it's page item active. So even if we are on page 44, the page number which will be active would be on page 44. So we just need to select the li or the li element which is after the one that is active, right? So let's first select the active element first. So again, XPath is 2//, and in this case we're just going to copy this, right? So double click on that and copy it, and we're going to say the li element where class equals to whatever we copied. And you see there's only one because we can only be on one page at a time. And we want the li element that is after this. Well, how do we do that? Well, there's actually a XPath expression which can handle this, right? So it's actually called following sibling. There we go. So following sibling means just, the brother or sister, which is the following brother or sister. So it's basically the element which is after what we selected. So we selected the active one, and we want the ones that are after it. So we type in following sibling. Look, there's many XPath expressions, but then even what I do is sometimes I need to Google, right? If I want to select the sibling or the descendants, I can't remember everything. So there are times when you do need to Google these XPath, but then it's very straightforward. And what I'm showing you is, how to generate a simple spider, how to scrape web pages and follow links. But depending on the web page, the XPath might be different or something like that, and you will need to Google. But the main thing you need to take away is if we just want an element, we just / type in the element and then the bracket and then add class, and we can limit it down to the element, right? So anyway, so following sibling, but as you can see here, it's always good to check, how many is selected, and there's 5 of them, but we only want the next one, right? We don't want all 5 of them because we want to visit the next page, and then from the next page go to the next page, so one at a time. So we can do that by just having a square bracket, 1 in square bracket, so that will select the next item. So as you can see, this is highlighted. Okay, so and then we actually want the A elements because the link is within the A elements. So if we just go to there and select the A element, and then within the A element we want to select the href attribute. Okay, So when we are selecting an attribute, it's slightly different from element. We need to include a @ sign there. So that's what I did. So there we go. That's exactly what we want. Go back to Visual Studio Code. Okay, so once we're back in Visual Studio Code, we just paste this here. But this is, well, a string, right? We need to actually get it. So we need to have a get function at the end of it. And hold on a sec. And sorry, I actually forgot. We need to do response.xpath here. So if we, so nothing new here, right? So we're having the response, which is the entire HTML page, and we're using the XPath expression here to get the link, okay? So the first argument of Scrapy.request takes in a link, and how we get the link is, use an XPath expression to get it. And then we need to define callback. Let me just see how the bracket is going. Okay, so that's, I think I need to, yeah, I need to do one here. And then we need to do a callback because we need to, once we go to the next page, what do we do there? Well, we actually need to rerun this for each card, extract the address, bedroom, and bathroom. So that's why in the callback method, we need to put in self.pass. And self.pass is basically this this function here, right? So how it runs is it goes to the first page, which is indicated by start URL, and then it passes it to this function here, the pass function. And then for every card, we get the address, bedroom, and bathroom for that page. And then after we got everything for that page, we come here. And what this thing here does is find the link to the next page, and then it goes to that link via this request method, and then it calls the pass function again. So after we go to the new link, we again start from here and get all 24 address, bedrooms, and bathrooms. So we just save that and give that a go. Scrapy crawl, and then we should be able to see it crawl more than just 24. Okay, wait, hold on. So only crawl the first page so far, and let me just have a look what went wrong. Okay, I see. So I think I spelled it with a capital S, and that caused it to have an error. So if we just do that, okay, hold on a sec. Alright, so it took a bit of time to debug it, but I found the error. Essentially, it's because we've scraped everything fine up till this one over here. And because this one over here doesn't have any, beds or bathrooms like that, this XPath expression here, which gets the bed and bathroom text, is non-existent, so that returns none. And then when we try to do a strip method on it, there's an error thrown at us because we can't use strip on none. So I guess a way to simply just to bypass this, if we just do if bed bath is none, then we just go bed bath equals an empty string. And because we can perform everything on strip function, replace functions on empty string, this will stop us from throwing the error, and we can continue scraping the rest of the pages without any errors popping up. I mean, obviously after we finish scraping it, we can look at the data and then filter out all the ones that doesn't have bed bath. Well, we don't have to, but we might as well, because those are the attributes which we require. So once we do that and we save it, then that should be no problems, and well, we'll find out right now, right? So we just scrapy crawl rw. Okay, so that's fine. um, it not only scraped the first page, as you can see there was a pause halfway through, and then it suddenly scraped again, so it went to the next page. And I'm just going to show you how to put this data into a CSV file. So if we just go scrapy crawl rw, and then actually we just go minus o, okay, or hyphen o, whatever you call it, and just do that. Oh, okay, hold on. Oops. Scrapy crawl rw and then minus o, and then that will minus o, and then we need to type in the name of the CSV file. So we'll just say raywhite.csv. So I'm just going to pause it here because that should have 3 pages on it already. And if we just have a look to see whether that ran as expected, we're just going to go to our project folder. This raywhite.csv would have been built, placed over here. And then as expected, there's 72 rows. So that's 3 pages, right? Because each page has 24 rows. So that means we are successful. We didn't stop at the first page because each page has 24 results. We went on to the next one and went on to the next one. And if we let the script run, it would eventually keep scraping until we got all 45 pages. So this is a short introduction on Scrapy and how to use it. I think the best way is to find a relatively straightforward page and try to scrape it first, and then if you have any questions you can always ask me or post on Discord. But this is relatively quick compared to my other tutorials because we're not going to assess you on web scraping. This is just kind of trying to add to your skill set, but it's not part of the assessment.